everyone, this is Cindy from Stamp with Aloha. Well, I have a lot of ink on my table today, and that is because I'm going to be teaching you a variety of tropical flowers that I created with the In Bloom stamp set. So let's get started. If you're following along in my videos, the last video I showed you was how to create a ginger card using the Pierced Blooms dies, which coordinate with the In Bloom stamp set. So I'm going to start today's video by showing you how you can create a ginger flower using the stamps. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab some ink. I'll be using Old Olive, and then I'm going to ink up the stem stamp here, and I'm going to just place a little bit of ink on there like so. Okay, then I'm going to take the small leaf, and then I'm going to ink this up, and then I'm going to stamp a leaf off to the left and a leaf off to the right. So this is exactly the same stamping that I did on the ginger card with the dies. This time, however, I'm going to just use some red ink, and then I'm going to use a larger leaf stamp from the In Bloom stamp set. I'm going to ink it up with a red, and then just like putting the Pierced Bloom leaves down, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the leaves in opposite directions, and then I'm going to go ahead and just build on top of that. So I'm just going to do another one and another one, and I'm just going to start in the center and go back to the left and to the right, and then of course I'm going to put one at the top. Then I can come back in here and I can fill in. So I'm going to put one right there, and then if I want I can even add and make it wider at the bottom here, and then I just kind of fill in the pukas. So it's just like doing the dies. Each flower is going to come out a little different based on how you stamp the petals. All right, now after the ginger flower, let me show you some other flowers. One of my favorite tropical flowers is called Puakenikeni. In fact, I have a tree in my backyard and it's blooming right now. There's so many fragrant flowers there. I just love it. So I'm going to start with our new papaya ink, and I'm going to stamp a flower like that. And then I'm going to come in with a mango ink, and I'm going to stamp this little image here. And that is similar to what a Puakenikeni flower looks like. Okay, my favorite hibiscus is called the Hula Girl hibiscus. And so the way I'm gonna form that is by taking this image here, and I'm going to stamp it like that. Next, I'll be using some red ink, and I'm gonna take this image here, and I'm gonna stamp that in the center. Then I'm gonna take this image here, and I'm going to stamp that like that. And I'm going to finish it up with some more real red, and I'm going to stamp this right here, and you have a Hula Girl hibiscus, or at least my interpretation of one. For my next flower, I'm going to show you a lei. This one is Pakalana, so I'm going to be using Granny Apple Green, and so this one you would use as a filler, or you can just string these together just like you were forming a lei. And that is my interpretation of Pakalana. For the next one, I'm going to show you what I consider to look like a lantern Ilima flower. And so I'm going to use this same one that I used in the center of the Hula Girl hibiscus. This is Mango Melody ink, and I'm going to stamp, let me just stamp a few of these here. So we have our little mango flower like that. And then the lantern Ilima has red on the center. So I'm going to go ahead and do that same little center there here that I did in the Puakenikeni flower with some red, and you have some little lantern Ilima flowers, and these would look really pretty strung together like a lei pattern as well. All right, for the next flower, I'm going to teach you how to do what I consider to look like a cherry blossom. So I'm going to take my polished pink ink, I'm going to ink up the stamp, and then I'm going to stamp off on a piece of basic white cardstock, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that down. So now we have a lighter shade of the polished pink. Then I'm going to take this sweet little flower, and I'm going to ink it up with polished pink again, and then I'm going to just stamp that right in the center, and then you have a really pretty little flower, which I'm calling a cherry blossom. For my final flower, I just took this stamp here, inked it up with the Magenta Madness, I stamped it onto basic white cardstock, and then I took this stamp here and I just put that in the center. And so I'm calling it an orchid, even though it's really not quite like an orchid, but it is a really pretty flower, and it makes a great filler with these tropical flowers. Okay, so now we're ready to create a card. This is going to be a slim card featuring the In Bloom stamp set. And we're gonna be using some of the tropical flowers that I just taught you. So I'm gonna start with a stem, and I'm gonna stamp that in Old Olive. I'm gonna do one here, and then I'm gonna do one up here. Next, we're gonna make the red ginger. So I'm gonna get my red ink, and I'm gonna go ahead and assemble some ginger flowers. Next, I'm gonna stamp my orchid flower with the Magenta Madness ink. Then I'm gonna add some Lantern Elima flowers. And then I'm gonna fill in with some leaves. Okay, so our tropical stamping is all done, and now I said this is going to be a large slim card. So I'm gonna mount this 3x8 to a piece of basic black cardstock. This is gonna really make the colors pop. So this is 3 1/4 by 8 1/4 basic black. Then I'm gonna take a 7 by 8 1/2 of Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to turn it this way and fold it in half. Of course, I use my bone folder, and then I'm going to mount this to the front. Next, we're going to add a sentiment. So I'm going to be stamping on a basic white cardstock that I die cut using this Pierced Blooms dies, which coordinates with this In Bloom stamp set. I'm going to be using some Memento ink, and I'll stamp that right in the center. Okay, and then I'm going to mount this piece here onto Coastal Cabana cardstock that's been cut at 1 1/2 by 2 1/2 inches. I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. And then I'm going to mount this onto the front of the card. So I'm going to finish this card up by embellishing it with one of our new loose flower flourishes. This is probably my favorite new embellishment from the new catalog. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to take out one of these. Now these are in the new In colors, so this color actually doesn't match really well, but I'm going to show you how we're going to change that. So I'm going to place this here, and the color that we used here is the mango color. So I'm going to be using one of my mango Stampin' Blends marker, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add some color to this little flower. Okay, so now I've added a little color to it. So I'm going to pick up the flower, place it on a glue dot, and I'm going to just add it here in the corner. And then to finish it up, I will just add a rhinestone, and I'll stick that right in the center. Okay, so my slim card is complete. Now let me show you the rest of the cards in this set. They all go with the flowers that I taught you at the beginning of this video. So I have a slim card here that features the Hula Girl Hibiscus and the Puakenekene, the Pakalana, but I didn't do it like a lei. I just randomly put that in there. And then I have this one here that features the same Lantern Elima, but this time I did it like a lei, and the cherry blossom flower. And I added some extra stones to that one, as well as a little rhinestone there as well. I just want to say thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you were inspired by the projects that I shared. I am obviously really in love with the In Bloom stamp set and the Pierced Bloom dies, and I have even more projects to share with you, so be sure to check back my channel soon. I look forward to stamping with you again soon, so I hope you'll come back and join me. Until then, aloha.